Carly Vinciguerra, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a little bit different. Today I'm going to be giving you 9 acting tips for when you're auditioning for a theater show. So I've been acting since I was in 1st grade. It is my greatest passion. I really love acting, and since I've been acting for such a long time, I've accumulated a couple tips that I'm going to share with y'all. I've only done live theater. I've never done a film before, so I don't know if these tips apply for a film setting or not. I'm sure they do, but just to be safe, these tips are for a theater audition since that's the only experience I have. I want to thank my friend Macy who gave me this idea, and let's get going. Okay, tip number 1 is to be respectful in the waiting room. Usually when you're auditioning for a show, you'll sit in a waiting room before you are called into the audition room. Now in this waiting room, there is usually a scout or someone in there to help sign you in for your audition, make sure you're on time. Now that person will be watching your behavior in the waiting room, and if you act up or act a fool or horse around, they will report to the director, and that really hurts your chance of being cast. Tip number 2, your audition starts as soon as you step foot onto that theater campus or wherever you're auditioning. You don't know who's in the car next to you in the parking lot. You don't know who's sitting next to you in the waiting room. It's best to pretend that everyone you come in contact with is the director. Be on your best behavior, smile, present yourself in a professional way as soon as you step foot onto that campus that you're auditioning at. Tip number 3, dress the part. Now this tip can be taken in an extreme wrong direction. Do not wear a costume. That's not what I'm saying. What I mean by dress the part is to make subtle suggestions to the character you're trying out for in your outfit. For example, let's say you're trying out for a younger role. Maybe put your hair in pigtails, don't wear any makeup, dress in like a pink dress or something. Subtle suggestions to a younger character. This way, when the director is looking at you, they're not trying to see if the character would fit you, they can just see the character in you already, therefore making you more likely to be cast. Tip number 4 is to be prepared. Have your headshot and resume ready to go as soon as you walk in, and also have your lines memorized, if possible. Now I know sometimes the lines or sides will not be given to you until the night before, or there'll be a cold read, so it's impossible to memorize them. But if you get lines ahead of time or even a cold read, try to memorize the first and the last line. That way you start with a bang and end with a bang, and they get a good first and last impression of you. Tip number 5, practice your slate as much as you practice the lines that are going to be said. Now just in case you don't know, your slate is the small piece of lines that you say before you say your actual lines. You say them as yourself, not in character, and into the eyes of the director. Now what I recommend for a good slate is your first and last name, your agency, if you have one, and the character you're going to be trying out for. That way they get a good sense of you and your background and the character you're going to be trying out. Now make sure that you practice this and so it's smooth and slick and as well performed as your lines are. It shows a very professional actor. Tip number 6, make choices. This is probably my most important tip out of all of them. Hey, think about it. If you're a casting director or a director and you're seeing hundreds, maybe even thousands of auditions in one day, and they all sound the same, it's going to be impossible to remember any of the good ones that stuck out to you if they all sounded exactly the same. Now, if you walk in there and you inflect something different, or you yell at one point, you slow down at one point, you change the pace or the inflection of the lines being said, you're going to stand out. You made a bold choice that is different from everyone else, and therefore they're more likely to remember you than cast you in the role. Tip number 7, find your focus point. Now when you're reading the script, go through the entire storyline, know exactly what your character is doing, and know who your character is talking to in the lines being said for the audition. If you know who they're talking to, it'll make it much easier to say your lines and also to find your focus point. Now your focus point is where you look during the audition. You look at this exact point the entire time, and that point represents who you're talking to. Do not say your lines into the eyes of the director, because that makes a very uncomfortable audition when you're talking to their eyes the entire time and they're like, oh my gosh, she's staring into my soul. Don't do that. It's really creepy, right? That was creepy, right? Yeah, okay. I recommend finding a point right above the director's eyes. Maybe their forehead, their eyebrows, or look a spot a little above their head that you can look to every time you're talking. It kind of gives you a connection with the director because you're kind of looking in their general direction, but you're not staring into their soul. Okay, good. Now sometimes the script may not make sense to look right above the director's eyes. Maybe it makes sense to look a little to one direction. But make sure that you're looking in that same spot the entire time. Do not move your focus point. Look here, then look there, because then the director's going to get very confused and it'll be hard to follow you, and you'll kind of distract them away from the lines you're saying. Also, finding a focus point and sticking with it shows a very professional actor who knows what they're doing. Tip number 8 is to don't make any excuses or say sorry. If you mess up, keep going along. Chances are they probably won't even notice. They're too busy taking notes and looking and stuff. Now, if you make a mistake and you say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," then they're going to notice it. You just broke character. Do not say sorry. Also, don't make excuses. If you're sick, you're coming in there with a runny nose and red eyes and you're coughing, they're going to tell that you're sick. You don't need to make an excuse. Chances are, if you don't make an excuse and you look sick and it kind of affects your performance, they might call you in for a callback a week later when you're feeling okay. Then you might have a better chance at getting the role. So just don't make excuses. It also just shows a very unprofessional and immature actor. My last tip, tip number 9, is to be flexible. Practice your monologue in several different ways. Have several different options prepared. That way, sometimes at the end of your audition, they'll ask you if you can read your monologue in a different way. They want to see if you can change tones and be flexible, a very, very important skill to have as an actor. If you are able to do that and read your monologue in an entirely different tone, it shows you very professional and very skilled as an actor, and therefore more likely to cast you. Also be flexible if they, at the end of your audition, they might ask you to change a part. They may say, "Oh, I don't like that you yell at the end. Could you maybe tone it down a bit? I want to see if you can do that." They're testing you there as an actor. They're seeing how flexible and how able you are to take direction. Now, if you can easily make that change and take that direction, that shows a very skilled, a very mature actor, and therefore more likely to cast. Okay, those are my 9 tips, and I hope they were helpful. I kind of want to make this a series, like maybe where I give other acting tips about different things, or I tell you about different stuff. I don't know. If you guys like this video, maybe I'll make more. Okay, on to my weekly favorites. My favorite song this week is Drop the Game by Flume and Chet Faker. I'd never heard this song before, but one day my friend Mia randomly sent me this link to this YouTube video and said, "You need to watch this." I watched it and now I'm in love with it. It's a really cool song. And the guy in the music video does like really cool dance moves and stuff, and really cool. You guys should listen to it. Okay, and then my top 2 for this week is Kathleen Lights. I know she's also kind of famous, but I've never seen her before. This week I have been super obsessed with makeup videos. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I'm wearing a little bit more than I usually do. I've been obsessed with makeup lately. I don't know what it is. I'm just having a bunch of fun and I think it's awesome. And she has a bunch of really cute makeup tutorials and I've enjoyed watching her this week. So I'll link her and my favorite song down below for you guys to check it out. If you like this video, please give it a big old thumbs up and comment down below if you'd like to see more acting videos. Or if you have any acting tips yourself, share those down below in the comments. Subscribe to this channel for a new video every Saturday. And I think that's a wrap. Bye! Oh, how was you guys'? How was y'all Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving was just there. 'Twas a good time, lots of good food. Love Thanksgiving, it's great. Oh my gosh.